There comes a moment when you have to make a choice between remaining a prisoner of your emotions or becoming the master of your mind. Too many people wake up every day dragged down by their own feelings of doubt, fear, and hesitation. They allow their emotions to control them, dictate their actions, and ultimately determine their destiny. But that is not who you were designed to be. Weak feelings are not a reflection of who you are. They are simply the residue of an untrained mind. They whisper lies, convincing you that you are stuck, that you are not strong enough, that you should give up. And if you listen long enough, they become your reality. But what if I told you that you could break free, that you could take full command of your emotional state and kill the feelings that are keeping you small? It begins with a single decision. The decision to stop tolerating weakness within yourself. Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. Because the life you want will never be built on fragile emotions. It requires something greater. It requires a version of you that is stronger, more disciplined, and fully committed to your own transformation. Your emotions are not just reactions, they are programs running on autopilot. From the moment you wake up, your brain is already executing the same familiar sequences, thoughts that trigger feelings, feelings that reinforce thoughts, a cycle that plays out over and over again. The emotions you feel are not random. They are patterns, deeply ingrained responses wired into your nervous system through repetition. If you feel weak, unmotivated, or stuck, it's because your mind has memorized these emotions to the point where they feel automatic. But here's the truth. Just as they were programmed in, they can be rewritten. Your brain is a record of the past. It holds on to experiences, stores emotional responses, and retrieves them whenever it detects a similar situation. If you've spent years feeling doubt, hesitation, or fear, your mind has turned those emotions into default settings. Every time you try to change, every time you attempt something new, the program runs again, pulling you back into the same emotional state. It convinces you that nothing has changed, that you are still the same person, that you should return to the comfort of what is known. But if you continue to listen to those emotions, you will never break free. Most people don't realize that their emotions are not truth. They are conditioned responses. If you feel incapable, it doesn't mean you are incapable. If you feel tired, it doesn't mean you lack energy. If you feel afraid, it doesn't mean you're in danger. These emotions are simply feedback loops, electrical signals firing in your brain based on past experiences. But the body doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. It only knows what it has been taught. If you want to change the way you feel, you must start by changing the way you think. Neuroscience proves that when you repeat a thought, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with it. If you constantly think about how hard life is, how tired you are, how difficult success feels, you are reinforcing those connections in your brain. Over time, your body will take over responding to those thoughts without your conscious effort. You will wake up feeling tired before you even open your eyes. You will hesitate before you even start. You will, not because these things are true, but because your mind has practiced them so often that they feel like reality. Reprogramming your emotions begins with interrupting the pattern. The moment you feel weak, recognize that it is nothing more than a signal, an outdated piece of coding that no longer serves you. Instead of reinforcing it, challenge it. If your mind says, I can't do this, replace it with, I'm capable. If your body says, I'm too tired, stand up and move. If your emotions try to convince you that you should give up, do the opposite. Every time you make a new choice, every time you override an old program with a new one, you weaken the neural pathways that kept you stuck and strengthen the ones that move you forward. This is not just a mental exercise, it is a physiological transformation. The brain is plastic. It reshapes itself based on how you use it. If you stop feeding weak emotions and start practicing strength, confidence, and resilience, your brain will adapt. It will rewire itself to support the new you. But this requires repetition. Just as your old emotions became dominant through years of reinforcement, your new identity must be built the same way. You must practice the feelings of power before they feel natural. You must wake up and decide to be strong before your body believes it. You must train your mind to think greater than how you feel until the shift becomes automatic. You are not your emotions. This is the fundamental truth that most people fail to realize. Emotions are temporary states, fleeting signals created by your brain and body based on past experiences, but they do not define who you are. The problem is that people mistakenly believe that because they feel a certain way, that feeling must be an accurate reflection of their identity. If they feel weak, they assume they are weak. If they feel afraid, they assume they lack courage. If they feel unmotivated, they assume they are incapable of taking action. But emotions are not facts. They are simply conditioned responses, patterns formed by repeated thoughts and experiences, and they can be changed. Your body and brain work together to create the illusion that emotions are reality. When you experience an emotion, your brain releases neurochemicals that make that feeling seem real. If you constantly experience doubt, your brain floods your system with a chemistry of hesitation, reinforcing the sensation that you are incapable. If you live in fear, your body memorizes the signals of stress, making it feel impossible to step beyond your comfort zone. But just because these emotions feel powerful does not mean they are accurate. They are simply a result of the past, of conditioning, of repetition. And the moment you decide to separate yourself from them, you take back control. Most people are trapped in their emotions because they never question them. They assume that how they feel must be the truth, so they surrender to it without resistance. If they wake up feeling unmotivated, they allow that feeling to dictate their day. If they feel insecure, they avoid challenges that can help them grow. If they feel overwhelmed, they hesitate instead of taking action. But the key to transformation is recognizing that emotions are nothing more than learned patterns, and they can be unlearned. You can feel uncertain and still take action. You can feel afraid and still move forward. You can feel doubt and still choose to believe in yourself. The mind's greatest trick is convincing you that your emotions are permanent when in reality they are changing every moment. Think about how quickly emotions shift in different situations. A single event, a change in focus, or even a shift in posture can alter the way you feel. If emotions were truly part of your identity, they would never change, but they do. And if they can change, that means they are not who you are. They are simply reactions to the present moment. When you recognize this, you stop allowing emotions to dictate your decisions. Instead of reacting, you start choosing. Instead of letting emotions control you, you begin to master them. The challenge is that your body has memorized your emotional patterns to the point where they feel automatic. If you have spent years feeling weak, your nervous system has become wired to produce that feeling even when no real weakness exists. If you have been anxious for years, your body has been trained to expect stress even in situations that do not require it. This is why most people struggle to change. They are not just dealing with thoughts, they are dealing with deeply ingrained physiological responses. The body has become addicted to the chemistry of old emotions. And when you try to change, it resists. It pulls you back into the familiar, making you believe that your old self is who you really are. This is an illusion. Breaking free requires awareness. The moment you feel a weak emotion rise, you must separate yourself from it. Instead of saying, I am afraid, say, I feel fear, but I am not fear. Instead of saying, I am exhausted, say, my body feels tired, but I am still capable. These small shifts create distance between you and your emotions, giving you the power to override them. The more you practice, the more you reclaim control. Over time, your brain and body adapt, and the weak emotions that once felt so real begin to lose their grip. Weakness is born in comfort. Every time you choose what is easy, every time you stay within what is familiar, you reinforce patterns that keep you stuck. The mind craves certainty, the body craves routine, and together they create a cycle that traps you in the same emotions, the same habits, the same limitations. Comfort is seductive because it offers safety, but real growth never happens in safety. If you always do what is comfortable, you will never experience what is possible. The life you want, the strength you seek, the power you desire. They exist beyond your comfort zone, not within it. Most people live their lives avoiding discomfort at all costs. They wake up and immediately seek ways to stay within what feels normal. They avoid situations that challenge them. They resist emotions that feel uncomfortable and they create a life that is built around ease rather than growth. But here's the problem. Comfort does not create strength. If you never test yourself, if you never put yourself in situations that require more from you, how can you ever expect to become more? Strength is not something you are given, it is something you build, and the only way to build it is by stepping into the discomfort that most people run from. Your brain is designed to keep you safe. It is wired for survival, not for greatness. It wants you to stay in the same patterns because they are predictable, and predictability feels safe. When you try to break a pattern, when you try to push beyond your limits, your brain sends signals of resistance. It tells you that you are too tired, too weak, too inexperienced. It tries to convince you to return to the familiar. But those signals are not real threats. They are simply the brain's way of maintaining control. If you listen to them, if you obey them, you will stay exactly where you are. But if you push through, if you move forward despite the resistance, you rewire your brain to operate at a higher level. Most people think discomfort is a sign to stop, but discomfort is actually a sign of transformation. The moment you step beyond what is easy, your body reacts. It sends signals of stress, uncertainty, even fear. But those are not signs that you should stop. They are signs that you are stepping into something new. Every time you embrace discomfort, you force your mind and body to adapt. You expand your limits. You recondition yourself to operate at a higher standard. What once felt difficult becomes effortless, and what once seemed impossible becomes your new normal. Look at the people who achieve greatness. They are not the ones who avoided discomfort. They are the ones who sought it out. They leaned into the resistance. They did what was hard even when they didn't feel like it, and they refused to let comfort dictate their lives. They understood that weakness is not the result of lack of ability, but of lack of exposure to difficulty. If you want to be strong, you must train yourself to handle what others avoid. You must condition your mind to see discomfort not as a barrier, but as an invitation to grow. This is not just about physical endurance or discipline. It is about rewiring your entire state of being. The moment you stop choosing comfort, you take control. You stop reacting to life and you start creating it. You stop living in the past and you start designing the future. You stop being the version of yourself that settles, and you become the version that thrives. Every moment you embrace what is hard, every time you step beyond what is familiar, you kill the part of you that wants to stay small. You replace hesitation with action, weakness with power, and limitation with possibility. The mind is constantly looking for the path of least resistance. It wants to conserve energy, to avoid effort, to seek ease. This is why hesitation creeps in when you think about doing something difficult. Your brain immediately starts calculating all the reasons why you should wait, why you should hold back, why you are not ready. It tells you that you need more time, that you need more certainty, that you need to feel motivated before you take action. But that voice is not your guide, it is your prison. The more you listen to it, the more you reinforce the habit of hesitation, and hesitation is the death of progress. Every second you hesitate, you train your brain to retreat instead of advance. You create neural pathways that make inaction your default response. The more you hesitate, the more your body memorizes that pattern, and over time it becomes automatic. The moment you feel doubt, your body tenses up, your energy drops, and your mind floods with excuses. It happens so fast that you don't even realize it. One moment of hesitation turns into minutes, minutes turn into days, and days turn into years of unrealized potential. But hesitation is not a fact, it is a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. The key to overcoming hesitation is to act before the mind has a chance to interfere. The brain takes milliseconds to start forming doubt, to generate reasons why you should wait, why you should choose comfort. But if you move before that process completes, you bypass hesitation entirely. The moment the thought enters your mind, do it. The moment you feel the resistance, move. Do not negotiate with your doubts. Do not entertain your excuses. Do not wait for a perfect moment. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The longer you hesitate, the more power you give to fear. Your body has memorized hesitation because it has been conditioned to seek familiarity. If you have spent years hesitating, your nervous system is wired to respond that way by default. But just as it learned hesitation, it can learn decisiveness. The more you train yourself to act without overthinking, the more natural it becomes. At first, it feels uncomfortable because you are breaking a deeply ingrained pattern. But discomfort is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are changing. When you push past hesitation, when you override the old programming, you are rewiring yourself for action. The greatest opportunities in life never wait. The moment presents itself, and either you seize it or it passes. Those who hesitate are left behind, stuck in cycles of overthinking and regret. But those who move, those who act, despite their doubts, are the ones who shape their reality. They do not wait until they feel ready. They act until they become ready. They do not wait for confidence. They take action until confidence is the only thing left. They understand that hesitation is just an illusion, a trick of the mind designed to keep them small. This is not about recklessness. It is about training yourself to trust action over fear. Every time you break the cycle of hesitation, you weaken its grip. Every time you take immediate action, you prove to yourself that you are in control. Over time, hesitation loses its power and decisiveness becomes second nature. You stop waiting, you stop doubting, you stop living in the hesitation that steals your potential. You move forward, you take risks, you step into the version of yourself that no longer questions whether or not to act, you just do. Emotions are powerful, but they're not always right. They rise and fall, shifting with circumstances, reacting to memories, shaped by past experiences, reacting to memories, shaped by past experiences, reacting to memories. Most people live as prisoners to their emotions, allowing them to dictate their actions, their decisions, their entire lives. They wake up feeling tired, so they move slowly. They feel discouraged, so they give up. They experience doubt, so they hesitate. But emotions are not commands, they are signals, and signals can be observed, understood, and overridden. The moment you stop obeying every emotion that arises is the moment you take back control. The body memorizes emotions like patterns. When you have lived in stress, anxiety, or weakness for long enough, your body expects it. It becomes your baseline, your familiar state of being. And because it is familiar, the body craves it. You may think you are reacting to the world around you, but in reality, you are experiencing the past over and over again. The nervous system, conditioned by years of emotional repetition, creates automatic responses that creates muscular tension and often creates physical and emotional repetition. But the truth is, emotions are habits, and habits can be broken. The first step to breaking emotional habits is awareness. Most people do not even realize they are reacting, trapped in cycles of anger, frustration, self-doubt, or sadness. They believe their emotions define them, that feeling weak means they are weak, that feeling afraid means they must stop. But feelings are temporary. The body creates them, and the mind reinforces them, but neither has the final say. When you step back and observe an emotion instead of identifying with it, you strip it of its power. You recognize it as an old pattern, something you have felt before, something that will pass if you do not feed it. The second step is disruption. The moment you feel an emotion rising that does not serve you, disrupt it. Change your physiology, change your focus, break the pattern. If your body is slouched, straighten your posture. If your breathing is shallow, take deep, controlled breaths. If your thoughts are spiraling into negativity, redirect them to something empowering. The body and mind are connected, and when you take control of one, you influence the other. Weak emotions cannot survive in a body that is strong, in a mind that is disciplined, in a state that refuses to be ruled by old conditioning. The third step is reconditioning. It is not enough to disrupt negative emotions. You must replace them with something stronger. Every time you feel fear, replace it with action. Every time you feel doubt, replace it with certainty. Every time you feel weak, replace it with movement. The more you practice this, the faster your nervous system adapts. What once felt automatic begins to lose its grip. The old emotions fade and new patterns take their place. And the more you repeat these new patterns, the more they become your natural state. Most people wait for their emotions to change before they take action. They wait to feel motivated before they start, to feel confident before they move, to feel strong before they push forward. But that is backward. You do not wait to feel strong. You act strong until strength becomes your new reality. You do not wait to feel ready. You train yourself to take action despite the emotion. This is how you take control of your life. You no longer react to emotions, you direct them. You no longer obey old conditioning, you rewire it. You no longer allow feelings to dictate your future. You dictate your future regardless of how you feel in the moment. Growth requires discomfort. The human mind is wired to seek safety, to gravitate toward what is known, what is predictable, what is easy. It wants to avoid pain, avoid struggle, avoid anything that threatens the illusion of certainty. But certainty does not create strength. Comfort does not build resilience. Growth happens in the moments when you push beyond what is easy, when you step into what is unfamiliar, when you do the thing that makes you uncomfortable. The strongest people are not the ones who avoid difficulty, but the ones who lean into it, who welcome it, who recognize that discomfort is the gateway to transformation. Most people resist discomfort. The moment they feel pain, they stop. The moment they feel uncertainty, they hesitate. The moment something challenges them, they retreat. But the body and mind adapt to whatever you repeatedly expose them to. If you constantly avoid discomfort, you train yourself to be fragile, to break under pressure, to seek the path of least resistance in every situation. But if you condition yourself to push through it, to sit with it, to embrace it, you become unstoppable. The body grows stronger under resistance. The mind becomes sharper under pressure. The spirit becomes unshakable when it is tested. The process of rewiring yourself for strength begins with changing how you interpret discomfort. Most people view it as a warning, as something to escape, as something negative, but discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are growing. When you feel resistance, when you feel that internal voice telling you to slow down, to back off, to wait, this is the exact moment you must lean in. Every time you push through, you send a message to your nervous system that you are capable, that you are in control, that you decide what is possible for you. The mind will always try to protect you from what it perceives as danger, but danger and discomfort are not the same. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of uncertainty, none of these things are real threats. Yet most people live as if they are. They stay in the same routines, avoid taking risks, and cling to the familiar because their minds have convinced them that stepping beyond the known is dangerous. But the greatest danger is not discomfort. It is stagnation. It is waking up year after year in the same place, wondering why nothing has changed, feeling trapped by your own unwillingness to push forward. You must train yourself to seek discomfort, to challenge yourself daily, to become someone who thrives under pressure instead of shrinking from it. This is not about forcing yourself into pain for the sake of suffering. It is about expanding your limits, about proving to yourself that you are stronger than the voice that tells you to stop. When you wake up in the morning and don't feel like doing the work, do it anyway. When you are faced with a challenge that makes you doubt yourself, step into it. When you feel resistance pulling at you, use it as a signal to push harder. Over time, the discomfort that once felt unbearable becomes your new baseline. The things that used to intimidate you become routine. The challenges that once seemed impossible become stepping stones. This is how growth happens. Not by waiting until you feel ready, but by acting despite the discomfort. The more you embrace it, the less power it has over you. The more you push through it, the stronger you become. And when discomfort no longer controls you, when resistance no longer stops you, when difficulty no longer makes you retreat, you become the kind of person who is truly free. The path to personal transformation is not for the faint of heart, but for those willing to confront their own limitations and transcend them. It begins with recognizing that weakness, hesitation, fear, and emotional reactions are not truths. They are simply habits, patterns that we have conditioned ourselves to follow. To break free from these, you must first become aware of them, then disrupt them, and finally recondition your mind and body to operate in new, empowered ways. Every time you push through the resistance, every time you choose action over hesitation, every time you embrace discomfort as a sign of growth, you rewire yourself for greatness. The struggle, the pain, the fear, they are not obstacles, they are opportunities to prove to yourself that you are stronger than you think, more capable than you've allowed yourself to believe. When you stop waiting for the right moment, stop letting your emotions control you, and start acting decisively, you unlock the full potential that lies dormant within you. Strength is built in the moments you least feel like being strong. Courage is found in the moments you are afraid to act. And growth is achieved when you step out of your comfort zone and into the unknown. The power to change, to evolve, and to achieve your greatest ambitions lies within you. The question is, will you kill your weak feelings? Stop waiting for external validation and step into the life you are capable of creating. The choice is yours. Thank you.